Iron Man issue number 21. We are still recovering from the events of last issue, where Tony fought a gorilla after it lost to a game of chess to an AI and he used roller skates. Yes. Yep, that was last issue, and it's great. This issue, however, Tony might actually try to receive that call from Vic and figure things out, but first he's just headed up into the sky, just taking a nice long cruise around in the air, going somewhere fancy, you know? Just doing what he does best, being Tony. But he's just in a nice plane, no personal jet, just flying around, enjoying himself. He's talking to this woman who used to teach she used to teach at State University. Is that because we can't use an actual name of a university, or a state university a university? I don't know. Either way, cool. She's talking about this like weird story about these two kids that made mistakes at the school, and they made a thing that blew up and it hurt the kids and whatever. Tony's like, okay, that's cool. But as that's happening, somebody tries to hijack the plane, and Tony snaps into action. He puts on the Iron Man suit and fights this guy amidst the air, and it knocks the plane down a bit. So the guy jumps out of the plane. Tony's like, oh shit, everyone please remain calm. I'm going to talk to the captain. Talks to the captain. They have control of the plane. Everything's going to be okay with it. Whoop-de-doo. Hallelujah. The plane will be okay. But Tony has to go find that guy that tried to hijack things. Turns out he stole top secret weapon plans from this guy that's just on there. And Tony's like, well, that's great. What a good use of my time now. So he jumps out of the plane, goes to chase this guy down. And this is where I'm like, this is a cool fight idea. Just the idea of some guy parachuting down from the skies while Tony is attacking him. It's pretty cool. He gets hit by this like weird technology that like affects his boot. It causes his thruster to stop, and he smashes into some rocks. Lands in like some swampy area. He doesn't really know where he is. He's thinking it could be Utah, but it's hard to say where that is specifically. So he like heals up his leg, kind of like puts a tourniquet on it for a minute. Starts walking down like this weird, I guess, like desert area, which makes me think it could be Utah. I'm not too familiar with the landscapes of America, but I think Utah's got some old dusty trails in there. So this guy's watching him, clearly like the hunter type. He starts making fun of Tony, just being like, ugh, millionaires, always boys with their toys kind of an attitude. And we learn that this guy worked for the Weapon X program, or was built by the Weapon X program, and he is called Switchback. And he just wants Tony's armor. That's his plan. He needs to get the armor, figure out a way to do that. They get into some scraps. He sends Tony into a big hole, and Tony gets trapped there. The plan is he's either going to wait for Tony to drown and die, or just see what happens next. Maybe he'll give up. That's the plan. That's this guy's plan. It starts to rain, and Tony's just talking to himself like, okay, remember the steps of rehab, you know, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. I do spend an awful lot of time resenting the natural order of things, don't I? I'm fine. I'm okay. Take it easy. So he starts to slowly breathe, calming himself down, and Switchback goes, it probably won't be good if he's dead in the armor and it starts to rust and smell bad. So he goes back to the hole, just like, yo, just give me the armor. But Tony pulled a fast one on the old sport, went out of the armor, climbed his way back up by standing on his own shoulders of the Iron Man suit, and he traps Switchback in the same hole that he put him in. Very fun. And it looks good. It's not Cafu again, but you know what? I'm liking it. So this also gives us a little bit of information on what this guy's doing. So Tony thinks this guy is the bomb maker, like he's making all these dangerous weapons that it's going to be sold. Nope, he's just a guy that sells them. Because there's this thing called the source control, which is the blackest and darkest market in all of the lands, and it's becoming a popular thing, and they're scared about Tony. Maybe Tony has some ideas that could go there, do some bad stuff. So we cut to a couple days later. Tony's been looking up source control. He's now talking to Rhodey. This is the first time they've interacted since the events of their previous encounter where Tony killed him. He's like, yeah, I've been digging into this like international black market thing with source control. I'm going to bring it down. I might use all of my money in the process, but I'm not going to let that happen. But this has to be covert AF, James. Like, I got to get in there silently and quietly and shut this thing down the best way I know how. And Rhodey's a little hesitant to help him out, but because Tony's like, I'm not too humbled now to ask for help. Like, I know I need you in on this. I'm going to need somebody to help me through this funk. Could you do that? Rhodey doesn't really want to, but he's kind of thinking, maybe I should help him. He's been through enough, and the guy desperately needs somebody to look after him. So they start talking like Tony is fully on board, Rhodey's kind of on board. They need a third guy, kind of like a front man who can like look trustworthy but also be like the dark figure in the shadows. Tony's thinking it should be Vic Martinelli. He's been trying to call him. We also learned that Vic called Rhodey, and Rhodey's like, well, he sounded scared to talk about something he found. I think he got something about source control, like these weapons. We saw at the end of the last issue that Vic had these 10 rings. Whether or not they are the 10 rings of power from Marvel Comics or whatever, he has 10 rings. But the thing we also learn, the sad truth we learn about this part of the book, Vic is dead. Oof. Right in the gut. I can only imagine how Tony's going to react in the next issue. If only he'd talked to Vic sooner, maybe he could have prevented Vic from dying. Very great resolution. And this is just like a cleansing issue, you know? We've done 19 issues of Tony dealing with some really intense shit. And now Cantwell's like, what if we just try to let him heal? Like, he actually helps himself out of some places, gets better for doing them, and I think that's kind of cool. And it's kind of setting up what this new arc's going to be, this idea of like source control, this new threat that could be like the blackest market dealing in the biggest and baddest weapons imaginable. I like that. It's a fun story. It makes sense, like it's a very Iron Man thing to do, but it's kind of something that hasn't been done for a while now, so that's kind of exciting. What I just like about this book is it's just so Iron Man, but it's like different things for Iron Man that you wouldn't expect. He's fighting a guy with a parachute. He's trapped in a hole. He has to stand on his own shoulders to climb out. He's going to deal some black market shit. I like that. It's pretty solid. I will commend this book for never leaving me bored. Every time I read it, I'm impressed with what I'm seeing. Is this the strongest issue of the run? I wouldn't say so, but it's far from the most boring thing I've read. It's pretty strong and interesting. I commend it for doing that. That's something not a lot of books can say. So, congrats to doing that, buddy. You made something special here, and I'm a fan. I am a fan. So, Iron Man issue number 21. I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. Now, thank you guys for watching this review. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And as always, I will catch you in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.